Hey everyone, Erin here, your hostess with the mostest, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Me, the weekly vlog thing where I talk about stuff. Yes, and let's go ahead and see what's on the agenda for this week. As per usual, I start with this week in HRT, because HRT is an ongoing thing. Okay. So anyway, in the past I mentioned that, like, sometimes, I guess, boobs just happen overnight. And maybe that's not true? I don't know. I'll just say that I have really shy breasts. Because I definitely don't have boobs right now. Like, they're not boobs, that's for sure. But they're definitely buds. It's like my little nips are pushing out like a turtleneck, trying their best. And then a day goes by, and then they're scared and they recede back. But yeah, and then I'm just getting that like a little bit back and forth, but it has me very excited. I'll just say that. Also, I know that like my skin gets thinner and like you'll bruise easier and cut easier. And wow, like when I was at work and I was in the cosmetics section, and like I hate how they have those racks, like the plastic stuff all tight and everything, and like I usually almost cut myself, but like not a big deal. But like this time I did it and it was barely anything, and then it cut, like it actually bled, and I was like, what the hell is going on? But besides that, there was also a couple points where I was just like really content with myself as a woman, and I was like, everything just feels so right and like it makes sense. I don't understand why I ever thought that I was a man. Truthfully, like voice doesn't make sense, habits, none of that. Like for me, being a man wasn't really like being a man. It was more like being a genderless like thing that just kind of floated through life or something. The other thing that happens with HRT, this hasn't seemed to happen yet because I'm still able to like lift things, but girls are always joking about like opening pickle jars and having a really hard time with it, and also saying things like, well, just wait until doors are heavy. And I told my wife that, and she was very scared. And then this past week, I also talked to my therapist and about a topic that will be my next crying hour, because I can't really talk. I don't really, like it's something I have to get into, I think. Like, oh my god, even more stuff, yeah. I just love to talk, apparently. But I actually talked to her about it like the last time that I was there with her, and she didn't really understand or know what to do. But this time she had done a little more research, and she was a lot more like understanding and like listening and supportive and just helpful, which is great, you know. And then hopefully I don't miss anything. But the last thing that I definitely wanted to mention was I got my first piece of fan art this week. And I wanted to show it here, but they didn't respond in saying when I asked them, because I've never had like fan art or anything like that. So I don't know like what to do, I guess. But I know what I'll do now. I'll go ahead and go into the next topic. So, friends, if you interact with me on Twitter, you may have already kind of noticed this. But, thanks to my friend Ray, who is a sweetheart, I thought more about, like, how I interact on social media and stuff like that. So, like, now, I'm not going to be liking as many things as I was before, but I'll be engaging more with, like, comments and stuff. Because, like, I don't know, I guess I sort of tricked my mind into thinking that if I like something, like, that's almost just as good. But I realized, like, also talking about myself and wanting to make connections with people and things like that, that, well, if I never say anything, how will they know who I am? Just based on the things I like. And apparently, a lot of people just, what's it called? Like, they won't have other people's likes appear on their timeline anyway. So, yeah, I think this is helping me be more connected to my friends and feel more visible to them, which makes me happy. But that's not the only thing that I'm, like, working harder on. You may notice I look a little different. Maybe not. I don't know. But I know that in the past I was like, and then I'll devote an hour to doing my makeup, and then that'll be good, and then I'll learn. But I never find that hour. It's like, it's rarer than a unicorn or something. But I think in a lot of ways, if you want to put effort into something, then that will motivate you to do something that maybe you couldn't motivate yourself to do. So in this case, I am hoping that from now on, when I am doing these vlogs, that I will be wearing makeup. And so this is the first one. And I kind of tried to remember what to do, because I haven't put on makeup in like a long fucking ass time. And that's kind of sad, because I like doing it. But I'm also bad, obviously. I've only done it like a half dozen times, if that. And if I put a little, like, more time and effort into improving that with each vlog, then, you know, maybe one day I can just do it for normal reasons and go out in broad daylight with makeup on or something. But that's also not it. It's like this mentality of when you're putting effort into things. Like, I think that a lot of times I complain, or I, like, side complain. Like, I'm not outright saying this is unfair, but I'm like, I'm no good at this, I can't do this. Well, like, try. Really. I'm not gonna be a better artist if I don't try to draw. I'm not gonna be better at makeup if I don't try to put it on. I'm not gonna be better at, like, my YouTube stuff unless I try to, like, do it more and focus on it. So I'm trying to do that a lot more now too. And the last thing about that is that I switched this monthly payment that I was doing. I had originally put it towards a website that meant a lot to me, but I couldn't really fit in there too much. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of an older way of thinking about being transgender. And there was a lot of gatekeeping, and I never really like sort of became part of that community. But because I found it so helpful in terms of information that they like share and stuff, I was giving a little bit of money each month for it, and I've been doing that for like probably 8 months now or something. I don't know, but I haven't used that website personally in like 2 or 3 months. So I decided, instead of putting it towards that, I wanted to support my friends. So I gave it to 2 of my friends that have Patreons. And it's not much, but I hope that, you know, it helps at least a little bit. Yeah. Dream sharing time again. Maybe this one's a little more on the nose, but I don't know. It was kind of more, well, I guess the last one was a little bit of a nightmare too. But this was one of those dreams that, like, sometimes you wake up in the dream and it's the environment that you went to sleep originally in, so you fool your brain fools you into thinking that you woke up. And I do that a lot, I guess. And sometimes that makes it hard to actually wake up. It's like the dream is holding you hostage. Well, anyway, so I had this dream when I was sleeping in the parking lot outside of Walmart. In the dream, like, I talked about sleeping, and I called my wife, and she came and was upset at me sleeping, but like she was fine with it, I guess. And there were these people that were outside and they were like freezing or something. And she was like, because she's very like giving and charitable and stuff like that. And I mean, I wouldn't turn this down anyway, like, to help people. But she was like, you need to let them in your car and warm up and stuff. And then, I don't know if she said anything else, but I did that. And for whatever reason, there was like a $1,300 bill. Like a single bill that was $1,300. It was very strange. And I was like, oh no, they're gonna rob me and kill me. And they were like reassuring, no, we're not gonna do that. And then I was driving because I was trying to like find a shelter for them. And I remember crossing like a railroad tracks. And then I got into like this parking lot, back lot thing where there were cars and there was like little kiosks of food stands and things, and like did sort of a weird car tumble. But then after that, like, it vanished. The car vanished, everything around vanished. It was like kind of a giant like dark cage of sorts. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then, like, I guess because I was bored or I couldn't do anything, I just sat down and I pulled out my phone and I started like doing social media stuff. But it wasn't Twitter. It was like a dark Twitter or something. And like I remember all the text had like weird black smoke over it. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it in like a game somewhere, but I can't think of it right now. But like I was posting like lewd selfies or whatever, and like that was fine. It was just me being like cute and stuff. But then like there was something else there, and then like it like flashed in front of my face, and I was like, wait, what's going on? And there was like another person that was in those like selfies with me, and they were, well, to be quite frank, like they were raping me. But then like when it started showing up, my brain started to get all fuzzy. There was this like giant Odin, like god figure thing that was like floating above and talking to me and asking me like really rhetoric questions and stuff. And like judging what I'm doing on social media, and then I'd be like saying things, well, I'm a trans woman, I feminine things, this and that, and then they would just be like, are you sure about that? Are you sure you're not just a confused guy? Are you sure that you aren't just demented, that you aren't this or that? And I would protest. I'd be like, no, like there's no way that I'm just that. Like that makes no sense considering everything that's happened. And each time that I would talk to them about this and like come back with it, there would be more things popping up in the social media. It was almost like they were kind of pulling the strings of me posting it. And like the rape images got like more severe and everything. Until like I was looking at my own feed and like I couldn't feel anything, and I sort of like collapsed, and like then he just disappeared, and then I woke up. That's how a lot of my dreams are. Like I get to this point that's like crazy, and then I just wake up. So, but I brought all that up because like there's something I was thinking about with it that maybe you don't see yet from what I've explained. But when I talk about like transphobes and things like that, trans people themselves are some of the biggest transphobes out there. And like not by choice, not because they want to. It's that internalized transphobia. It's because it's like so prevalent with so many people, and I hope that like a lot of younger trans men and women and non-binary people don't really like won't experience that quite as much, because it'll be more accepting like around them. Yes, we're kind of in a war zone with all of this right now. It's different if like it just becomes a part of you over the course of like most of your life, and it normalizes. Like transphobia normalizes, and in a way that it normalizes, it reminds me of a tweet I saw where like someone was saying to a friend, hey, have you been harassed? And they're like, oh no, catcalling, groping, the usual. Like, that's harassment. But for whatever reason, it's normalized. And that's dangerous. And that's probably why, like, so many scumbags have really gotten away with what they've been doing. I don't know what the point of this was. I thought it was really weird, so I guess I wanted to share, but just don't normalize transphobia. Don't normalize harassment or bigotry. Yeah. This week in Awesome Awful People, there was a disproportionate amount of awfulness to awesomeness, which I think is sadly kind of expected at this point. I mean, people tend to talk more about the negative than the positive, but also there's just a lot of negative out there. So, first of all, there's this tweet by Jack MC, and I'm kind of reading it this time, but they retweeted because there's this Olympic champion woman, Caster Semenya, sorry, who is a cis woman, but has naturally high testosterone. And because of like all the arguments that trans women have like more bone density, well, that goes away with HRT. Or bigger lungs. Okay, I don't think that changes, but like the thing is that people pick apart like every little thing that could be about a person. But like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, if there was a sport and there was like 100 different people, like all of them might have different sized lungs. All of them might have slightly different bone structures. And of course, different levels of hormones. People see this as not fair when there isn't like actual evidence to support that like every trans woman is winning all the prizes and taking over all the sport and everything. Like, they do about average or below average of what other women do. Like, if you're an athlete, you're putting so much into yourself. And truthfully, with HRT and losing more muscle mass and bone density, like, I would be afraid to try and like do anything really physical. So, I mean, but besides like physical. But, yeah. Anyway, I was getting off track. The thing is they are wanting her to be on testosterone blockers against her will, or tell her to compete with men. Like, what the fuck is going on? They put a really good point on this. Like, the transphobic, like, TERF army and people like that, they're like, scream about we're forcing kids to take hormone blockers and how they're so unsafe and damaging. And yet, here they are, forcing a cis woman against her will to take testosterone blockers if she wants to continue to like compete athletically. And that just goes to everything. Like, when there's transphobia, like, not only do trans people suffer from it, everybody suffers from it. Like, the whole bathroom debates and things like that. If you don't fit into some rigid, like, idea of what people think your gender should, like, express and should be, then you're labeled as such. Like, there were 2 cis women that were harassed because someone thought that they were trans. And, like, that makes it okay, apparently. And I've also gone in the past, like, looking at articles and things where people just go into bathrooms. They follow people that they think are trans, and it's like, aha, look, your genitalia is showing. And it's like, okay, like, that's really fucked up, and you just followed me into a bathroom. Like, you're a sick freak. But it's because people, like, see us as not humans, as, like, subhumans, as, like, we're the freaks. Then they justify this kind of behavior. And it's so bizarre. You don't understand, like, why people think that. Well, truthfully, I can understand, which makes it just sick to think about. Because, like, people just, they don't think for themselves. They just follow what other people have told them. And if that chain of command starts with bigotry, sexism, racism, like, it doesn't matter. They'll just keep going. And it's fucking stupid. Okay, on to the next terrible people. And yeah, these aren't like specific people, sorry. This is, I guess, more like a news thing now. I don't know, like, if there's enough here, like, I might just have to do it like a separate thing for my vlog and everything else. And maybe I'll do that, because then I can like put in more pictures and like articles and things like that. But I don't know. Anyway, so there's this thing called, like, well, it's abbreviated as ROGD. It doesn't exist, but people believe it exists. It stands for Rapid Onset Gender Dysphoria. This idea that someone was completely fine with their gender until someone told them, or like put them into the trans movement. Like, a lot of people don't understand that it's who you are. Like, they think it's an ideology, like if it was a religion or something. But truthfully, everybody expresses their gender differently. And, you know, there's some things that people latch on to that they like and other, whatever. But the problem is, and I'm looking at like the header of this website, and it's one of those like deep emotional, wow, she's looking out on a river, and it's so terrible. You know, her kid is suffering from rapid onset gender dysphoria, and it's these parents that are like, they refuse to support and love their children unconditionally. It's the same people that like are like instead of wanting to like help and support and be loving to their autistic children, they're like, woe is me, my child is autistic, and now like it's so horrible. And like, yes, there can definitely be a lot of challenges, and I'm sure like people would be like, I wish that they didn't have this certain thing about them, then they could do this or that. But they, I don't know, they kind of put it into a better explanation, but let me see if I can read it here. Okay, here we go. Who we are. We are a group of parents whose children have suddenly, seemingly out of the blue, decided they identify strongly with the opposite sex and are at various stages of transitioning. This is a new phenomenon. No, it's not. It's been around since the beginning of, like, humanity, really. That has only recently been identified. It's only been recently accepted. And thanks to the internet, people know more about it, like, from here and there. Researchers are calling it rapid onset gender dysphoria. Oh, who are these researchers? Because, like, there's a lot of scientific articles and things like that that support otherwise. And yeah, I'm not helping by not actually showing them. So maybe I'll just get on that, because I'm really kind of tired of seeing this crap. And it is an epidemic among our most vulnerable youth. It's like, oh my god, don't love yourself. If you want to express yourself a certain way, if you feel you are a certain other way than like what people expected or what people pushed upon you, then somehow you're falling victim to this ideology, this epidemic of a plague or disease that's like going across everyone. And they go on. It's like, Our children are young, naive, and impressionable. Many of them are experiencing emotional or social difficulties. Yes, and you could help them through that by being like a good parent and supporting them in the ways that they like want to be supported. Like, I've said it probably a lot of times, and I'm sure I'll say it again, but like, people, when they're really young, they have a pretty strong idea of their gender. And even if they don't, like, people stop doing kind of neutral baby stuff almost friggin' immediately. Like, that, and then they might, like, misinterpret that a baby is upset with wearing a certain style of clothes or being given a certain type of thing. Treatment, nicknames, things like that, as like being disobedient, being this or being that, and they don't understand it as like what it actually is. I just think that people don't give kids enough credit about like actually caring about things. And then like, I don't know, along the way it seems like then they care less and they become like more hollow human individuals. At least that's kind of like what happened with me. So like that's why I can kind of see that. But okay, so they are strongly influenced by their peers and by the media, really, who are promoting the transgender lifestyle as popular, desirable, and a solution to... Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, great, yes. The media who constantly attacks us. The media who supports transphobes, bigots, and things like that. I was gonna put it in here, or I might do like another, what's it called? Crying hour about it. But the Sunday Times in the UK last year actually posted more than 52 transphobic articles. They like to frame things to make it look like it's a problem, make it look like it's a disease, make it look like we're deviants and we're like harmful to others. And the truth is, like, we just want to live our lives. So, but yeah, the media, it promotes how cool and desirable the lifestyle is. Because, you know, it's great not loving your body. It's great not loving yourself. It's great getting harassment out in broad daylight. Like, it's actually really bad right now in the UK. And I wish I had like the tweets that I saw of this from to back it up. But they were talking about like people are openly in broad daylight getting almost assaulted because they're transgender. And I actually did save this one tweet in here, but I'm not going to show it because I don't want to go in too much of it, but that seems weird because like I'm just rambling at this point. But like there was a person that sent a postcard to somebody who's trans, and it was all this kind of like, oh, my gerbil started questioning their gender, and they want to wear dresses now, and I think that I should support them, but like I don't want them to kill themselves, or I don't know what they said exactly, but it was really fucking weird and toxic. And then they drew a little picture of the gerbil in a dress, and the other side of the postcard was a Scotsman. Really? Kilts are like non-gender, I was pretty sure. But whatever. And the thing is that's people, I know where you live, and I don't like you. So, think about that. Like, the fuck? I hate people. I'm sorry I'm getting off on tangents, but... Oh. Okay. And they are being misled by authority figures, such as teachers, doctors, and counselors, who rush to affirm their chosen gender without ever questioning why. Oh, fucking hell. Really, you don't jump through hoops with talking to a therapist for sometimes months or years to come to a conclusion on things. Like, a lot of people will know without that, like, help, but that will help them navigate, like, the world and their own gender, like, much better, I think. But it's just this idea that, you know, if a kid feels that they are a certain way or they want to be something, then don't support them. Like, tell them that they can't do it. Put them down. That's what they want to do. Yeah, they're like, we are skeptical of the current standard of care, the affirmative approach, which only seems to confirm and solidify our children's misguided, externally influenced sense of self. Yes. Being racist or sexist or whatever is just fine because that's who my parents are, or whatever. Like, it's bullshit. I hate it. And I think I'm running out of time, so I'm sorry I have to go through this kind of quickly. Shit. I'm gonna zoom in. Oh, fuck. Okay, this was a propaganda thing that went around, and I'm just gonna read it because it's really bad. Let's get along. 5 steps to eradicate transphobia. Oh, really? Here's a few ideas to help trans people to stop being victims of hate and live in a better and safer world. Trust us, we are friends. Whoa, that doesn't sound friendly. Stop calling women names. Don't call women cis or TERFs. Here we go. Cis is basically means of the same side of, and trans means the opposite side of. And they're both Latin words. So if you were born female and, if you were assigned female at birth, and then, that's the internalized transphobia I'm talking about. And then you identify as a female. You are cis. And TERF just stands for Transgender Exclusionary Radical Feminists. Basically, feminists that exclude a section of women. So, here we go. Oh, excuse me. Be friendly towards them. Don't argue. Don't force your way into female-only spaces. And here's the big one. Or demand acceptance. Yes, Don't ask for acceptance. Be the other. Be the excluded, the outcast. Be whatever, because we don't fucking care. Alright. Stop seeking haters. Stop blaming everyone for your problems. It's not all about you. Okay. Respect others, be modest and polite. Stop being a victim. Oh, victim blaming. Isn't that something that, like, misogynists do? Largely so. Because, like, people blame rape victims and shit like that. It's the same thing. Don't seek haters, bigots, and transphobes everywhere, and you may find more friends. Well, I don't seek them out. They just kind of appear, and they're everywhere already. And they're the ones with most of the power, but not the numbers, and that's really important. They have a lot of power and money and influence, but not the majority. Alright. Here's a pretty terrible one. Change starts with you. Work on yourself. Be, look like, act, talk, and walk like the gender you are. And become a better person in every other way. You will see less misgendering and transphobia. Basically, accept to the stereotypes of what people, but I mean everybody kind of sees them differently, so like one person's stereotype is going to be another, like whatever, and it changes depending on where you are in the world. It's fucking dumb. And I know that I try to be more feminine in a lot of ways, but it's not so much trying, it's more so just kind of like being myself. And I had denied myself that for so long. I don't know how to do makeup, but I try. And I'm, working on my voice and in a mostly good place with it, I think. And just, expression and doing HRT and wearing, like, more feminine clothes and stuff. But not everyone is like that. A lot of women that are cis aren't even like that. And they don't have to be. Like, fuck these people. Alright, stop denying science. Be realistic. Humans don't change sex, and sex is binary. You may change your looks and have a better life in a new gender role, but there's no magic to turn you into the opposite sex. God damn it. There is so many minefields in this. Like, be realistic. I am. Humans don't change sex. They can, yes. Sex is binary. Whoa, no it's not. I'll probably do like a crying hour about that, but the short of it is that not only is gender a spectrum, but sex is actually its own mathematical thing. It's not a binary, and a lot of people don't understand that, but it's because like science is just evolved and advanced to be able to analyze things a lot better now. Here's the thing. You may change your looks, and you may have a better life in a new gender role. They actively don't want you to have a better life. What the fuck? I hate these people. Here we go. Earn respect and acceptance. Don't force others to accept and love you. When have I done that? Don't force your beliefs down people's throats and minds. Don't silence, intimidate, or threaten them if they don't accept you. Okay, I think I've been pretty, like, good about when I'm talking about issues and things like that, that I'm not saying that you should do this or should do that, aside from looking at my own experience and how I feel that something is bad or wrong, like bigotry and stuff. Like, I think I should be okay saying, like, don't be a bigot. Like, don't be sexist. What is the point of being that? Like, I don't get it. Anyway. Wait. Patience and respect will get you much further. Fucking. And then this little addendums, and I might not be able to read the bottom, but for more practical tips, just consult sexuals who went through all that before you and don't see women's rights groups as their enemies. I don't see women's rights groups as their enemies. Again, TERFs and people like that, they have a lot of power and influence, but they're not the majority. The majority of cis women stand with trans women. Like, it's an everybody thing. And here's the thing. Transsexuals and transgender, it's technically, like, in terms of how people use it, the same. But for the most part, when people say transsexuals, they're not actually talking about, like, people that are going through gender reassignment surgery and things like that. And the same thing is called sexual reassignment surgery. But it's like an old way of thinking. It's like a red flag, at least in trans communities. When someone says transsexual, then what it means is they don't validate you until you've replaced your genitals, until you've fit whatever stereotype to the T, and are no longer, like, even remotely the other gender, like an expression or something. Like, to be so hyper femme or hyper masc that whatever. And then this last part, let me see if I can read it. Oh, here we go. Women aren't cis, but trans women are trans. Women can get all along together as long as trans women stay under their foot, as long as we're not respected or well, not even that, like, just acknowledged. Like, basically we're just supposed to be the, I don't know in this case, but I need to keep going because I definitely am running out of time. Let's see. And then, oh, here we go. One little bit of good news. So, I had a crying hour about the H-Bomber Guy stream and raising money for Mermaids, the charity organization that helps build, like, a community and support system for transgender youth. They don't issue HRT or anything like that. Like, the most that they actually give people is, like, biscuits and soda or tea or something. But they organize, like, outings and things like that to, like, make people feel better, like, in the same sense of reserving a beach, because a lot of trans people are really self-conscious about going swimming, but they really want to, and they're, like, everybody is trans, so it's not as bad as that. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. A very famous TERF who's actually male and a misogynist, big one, Graham Lenner, he sent his little TERF army to tell a lottery fund to not give charity money donations to mermaids, and it was going to be like I think 500,000 euros over the course of, like, 5 years or something. So they were under investigation. That's what started the whole H-Bomber Guy stream, where they raised over $340,000. And then now they were approved by that. So because of, like, Glinner being an asshole and spreading his hate and having a voice and things like that, and making it more public about mermaids. Like, we know the truth. Like, Mermaids is not a bad organization at all. It's a supportive one. And now they have almost doubled their funding because of this thing. So that means that a lot of transgender youth people in the UK are going to have like a better community to grow up in, to feel safer in, which they definitely need right now. And yeah, it really is kind of like a war zone over there. Alright, this is going really long, and I apologize. I definitely need to get off soon. Yes. So, if you stayed till the end, thank you. You're a real sweetheart. And take care, everybody.